Welcome to the Willie Bragg Show. I just have some thoughts I'd like to share with each and every one of you. But first, we're going to have some theme music, and then we will discuss. So hold tight. Hello, welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I am your humble host, Willie Bragg. I was online a few nights ago while I was at work because I work graveyard shift and having a discussion with some folks. And on my break, I was answer a post about neoliberalism and wondering why we're where we're at today, why the United States is in the mess that we're in. And we need to go back to history. I mean, a very brief history. And I'm not going to be long-winded. I'm just going to say what most people will probably assume about me, which is true. That as far as great presidents are concerned, I've always viewed Franklin D. Roosevelt as America's greatest president. So let me get this out of the way. Yeah, I've always viewed FDR as the greatest president this country's ever had, because he, frankly, got us out of the Great Depression. He did what he needed to do to get us out of the Great Depression. He basically gave Americans a job. He expanded unions. He gave us Social Security. He gave us workplace regulations. He regulated the economy to the way where, in theory, all the shit that brought us toward the Great Depression could be avoided. And of course, when we had the bubble in 2007, this goes back to a decade prior, where Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich worked together to dismantle one of the crowning jewels, FDR's New Deal legislative achievements, which was Glass-Steagall, which regulated basically all the regulations that was like massively deconstructed in the economy, and deregulation went on hyper overdrive, financial institutions and things like that. And that ended up being where we're at pretty much right now. So this New Deal consensus, it was so popular, what FDR did. Yeah, some historical revision is going to be like, FDR didn't get us out of the Depression. It was World War II. World War II got us out of the Great Depression. FDR was nothing but a filthy socialist. Hey, if FDR was a filthy socialist, God, we need more filthy socialists in office. The problem with this country, we don't have enough filthy socialists like FDR. FDR's New Deal worked. It worked so well that Harry Truman continued it with the Fair Deal, that Dwight Eisenhower continued with the things like the interstate highway systems in the 1950s, and AFK, he continued it with the New Frontier, LBJ with the Great Society. Believe it or not, even Nixon kind of continued it too. I mean, I can imagine if we would not have had an EPA under Nixon. You imagine trying to get it passed under Jimmy Carter, or trying to get it passed under Bill Clinton, or heavens, even Barack Obama or Joe Biden today. People be screaming, socialism, socialism, socialism. Richard Nixon was able to get that. Then we're talking about a Nixon presidency that he was receptive toward the idea of universal basic income. And unfortunately, Watergate threw a monkey wrench. But Senator Ted Kennedy and President Richard Nixon were in plans of trying to work together to create some kind of a universal healthcare system. This is how far away we are in the Overton window here in the United States. And deregulation kind of started under Jimmy Carter, under this false populism. A lot of people were cynical in the 70s. And I think it was Jimmy Carter's way of trying to appear authentic, but I thought that was one of the most stupid things he did. There were other ways he could have done this, but he turned out to be the greatest ex-president we ever had, but very mediocre as a president himself. So that's out of the way. I will say that the FDR New Deal consensus lasted from 1932 until Election Day 1980. It died on Election Day 1980. And while some right-wing people today will tell you, we're under socialism, I think that we still live in the Reagan era. We have never left the Reagan era. And what I mean by that is, you had the 1980s. Ronald Reagan got elected president. It would have been one thing if Ronald Reagan would have gotten elected president, which coincided with the Thatcher premiership in the UK. And in a lot of ways, Margaret Thatcher was worse. The only way Reagan was worse than Thatcher is Well, there was no National Health Service in America to dismantle, and Margaret Thatcher did not dismantle the NHS, to her credit. So there is that. But as the 1990s took place, I was very hopeful that liberalism would make a comeback, progressivism. As it turned out, looking back, I hated the 1990s, and for a couple of reasons. One, there was some personal shit in my life that made me hate the 1990s, but I'm not going to share that kind of laundry with you all. But politically, I hated the 1990s because it was meant to be a progressive decade. It was meant to be a progressive response to the 1980s, and unfortunately, it went further right. I know people be like, what are you talking about? Bill Clinton got to be president. We went through 8 years of Ronald Reagan. I thought we were going to get Michael Dukakis in 1988. George Herbert Walker Bush rode on the coattails of the Reagan legacy, being the smear merchant that he was, and actually shifted the country a little further right than Reagan did. You see where I'm going with this? Well, Bill Clinton became president. And here's what I hear from a lot of apologists for Bill Clinton, that Bill Clinton was able to do what Jimmy Carter wasn't able to do in 1980, which was to get reelected, or Walter Armando in 1984, or Michael Dukakis in 1988. Obviously, because they were more traditional Democrats, they weren't able to get elected. But Bill Clinton, being a new Democrat, with the Democratic Leadership Council, bringing a new generation of new Democrats, corporate-friendly Democrats, and get those pesky unions away from us. That's what did it. No. What did it in 1992 was Ross Perot. Ross Perot took enough votes away from George Bush to allow Bill Clinton to win. Same. Rinse and repeat. 1996, same thing. Ross Perot took enough votes away from Bob Dole, so Bill Clinton was able to win in 1996. Bill Clinton was pretty much George Herbert Walker Bush light, Ronald Reagan light. And what I mean by when I hated the 1990s is that Bill Clinton continued the Ronald Reagan, George Herbert Walker Bush legacy. But he combined it with soft wokeness. He substituted soft wokeness with the Bible thumping evangelicals that were still around, but they were around hating Bill Clinton for the same shit that they loved Donald Trump for today. You see where I'm going with this? They love Donald Trump today, but they hated Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton and Donald Trump are the same goddamn type of persons. That's what I don't understand. So through the vessel of the Democratic Leadership Council, the Democratic Party moved away from the New Deal consensus, and that was embraced by Republicans, even reluctantly by some conservative Republicans. I mean, one of the biggest proponents of food stamps for the longest time was Senator Bob Dole of Kansas. And a lot of people don't realize that today, but that's what's happened. Now, with Bill Clinton's presidency, taking that turn toward the right, he just encouraged the Republicans to become more unhinged and further right wing. And the Democrats, as they turn into 1980s moderate Reagan Republicans, just basically being just like the Republicans, almost identical on economics. Maybe they may favor raising the taxes on the wealthy slightly more, maybe being a little more generous on some welfare programs, and being kind of socially liberal on a few safe issues. There's really no credible difference between Democrats and Republicans, especially in the 1990s. But somewhere along the way, the Democrats embrace a brand of authoritarianism, which is why the Democratic Party now is the Democratic Party of Nina Jankowicz, the lady that was supposed to head the Ministry of Truth, the Disinformation Governance Board, which was thankfully scrapped. And I think it was done under pressure. The bad public relations. I don't care how it was done. I'm glad it was done. And if anybody cares about free speech, whatever side of the political fence you're on, you should be popping your champagne corks, and you should be drinking your beer and celebrating. Anyway, the Democratic Party became the Democratic Party of Nina Jankowicz, just as the Republican Party now it's the Republican Party of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And that's what's happened. And for myself, I'm a traditional, old school social Democrat. Tradition of Eugene Debs, Norman Thomas, that lives on to Bernie Sanders. As a pariah among corporate Democrats, they rather suck Ronald Reagan's cock than to listen to the common sense advice of Bernie Sanders, and that's what's happened in this country. So I'm an old school social democrat and a traditional civil libertarian who lives in the political wilderness, and I blame Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton for getting us in the mess that we're in. So that's pretty much what I got to say right now. And I just wanted to share my thoughts. And we have a chat line here. So, whoa. Okay, something happened. But okay, whatever happened, stop happening. That's a good thing. Fireball Russ, I know you. Hey, how are you? Bonjour. Let's see. Fireball Russ went on to say, Ronald Reagan is the greatest president ever. Not. And I know where you stand on Ronald Reagan. So yeah, I can see you have a sense of humor. Mall punk. Well, I was never a mall punk. However, I was your typical punk rocker that sneered at the thought of Ronald Reagan in the 1980s. Certain things just never quite changed. Hot Retarded Chicks says, hey, Hot Retarded Chicks, hey, I'm always glad to see you. And I want to talk to you one day. You really fascinate me. You have a great channel, and I'm going to promote your channel when I get off this when I'm done with this thing. I'm going to go and do a special promotion. I'm going to put your link down because you have an awesome channel. And sometimes I feel like we connect, and I just wanted to say that. So there is that. Anyway, to everyone, if you like what you heard, press like and comment. Comment even if you don't like what I have to say. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it because we're the muckrakers of our time. We're the muckrakers of our time. Anyhow, also subscribe, hit that notification bell, help independent media. And remember, we have a class struggle to wage because there's no war like the class war. We have a First Amendment to protect. That means freedom of speech. And that also means freedom of the press, which really means, and this is a really important issue, you know what I'm going to say, we're all Julian Assange.